All right, so we've got to talk about the price of oil because unfortunately it looks like it's going to go up and it's going to go up a lot. This is the headline today. Oil rally resumes after brief dip in prices as Brent tops $87 a barrel. Okay. And let me show you a current price chart. WTI is around 84, Brent crude's at 87, pushing 88. You can see it right there. And essentially everything's going up in price. And we've been talking about $100 a barrel. That was yesterday. It looks like it's heading that way. I wouldn't be shocked here. However, today, now we're talking $150 a barrel. And yes, you heard that correctly. $150 a barrel is a possibility. And this is coming from Qatar. And I want to give you the latest on what they're saying. Qatar warns war will force Gulf to stop energy exports, quote, within days. And I think you can probably imagine how ugly that will get. Again, we're talking possibility of $150 a barrel. This is from the energy minister in Qatar. The energy minister has warned that war in the Middle East could, quote, bring down the economies of the world. That's what we're talking about today. Bring down the economies of the world. Predicting that all Gulf energy exporters would shut down production within days and drive oil to $150 a barrel. And you can read this any number of ways that they're basically warning us, hey guys, cut it out. Otherwise, we're going to just not ship you any oil. And that does shut down the economies of the world. I would actually agree with that. $150 a barrel. And if you think about, okay, we're at $87 now, going to $150, I think it's like 72% increase, something like that. And so take whatever you're paying at the pump now and just add a whole bunch. My bet would be maybe you're going to be paying $5 to $6 at the pump. In the USA, in California, because it's higher than other states, maybe $8, something like that. It could get really ugly. Let's be frank with you guys, it could get really ugly. Saad al-Kabis told the Financial Times that even if war ended immediately, so if the war just ended today, right, it would take weeks to months to return to a normal cycle. Because it's hard to get things going again. And I think one of their refineries or something was hit. It says there was an Iranian drone strike at its largest liquefied natural gas plant. So this is actually really serious to the economy. $150 a barrel. And again, even if they stopped or started today, to get production, it would take weeks to months to get back to normal. It says here, war keeps Strait of Hormuz almost totally shut, raising energy prices, right? That's what we're talking about here. And let me show you this. This is a chart of the sort of ships or tankers, I should say, going in and out. So this would be the blue is into the Gulf, right? Coming in. So like in any day here, back February 26th, you get like over 30, something like that. The attacks begin. So that was around February 28th. And then now we're at like March 5th. According to this chart is from the Financial Times. You're getting like 1 or 2 tankers come in, or 0, actually. You can see it here. And then out of the Gulf, basically, less than 30 was before, and then now you're getting pretty much nil. And I also want to show you this. This was actually a story here in Korea. I don't know if they shared it with you guys or not. Basically, when the fighting started and you're, on a tanker, you're in the Gulf and you're like, what do I do? There's like a bottleneck to try to get out of the Gulf, and then you're just not sure if anything's safe at all. One, I guess, Korean ships, like, you know what, we're just going to bust on through. They hit the pedal to the metal and apparently made it. They were like one of the few that could get out. I mean, you can see right there, that's what the red circle is. It was pretty risky, like how fast they went. I think they had to take some crazy route to do it. But at the time, the choices, I guess, were, stay and be a sitting duck or try to get out. It sounds like a crazy car chase. That's why it's been big news here that they were able to get out. But, the people who weren't, this is what they're saying. This is from The Guardian. They say, we're powerless and hoping nothing hits us, trapped on a tanker as Iran war escalates. And I hadn't even thought about this. Like, this would be the last place that you'd want to be if there's drones and missiles flying around during a war zone. And as one person describes it, you're sitting on like, millions of barrels of oil. That's what they say. It says at the time we had no GPS, no communications, and we're sitting on more than 1 million barrels of floating oil. Right? That's probably not where you want to be. And then it says here, thousands of seafarers are trapped on tankers in the Gulf after the Strait of Hormuz was effectively closed to shipping by escalating war on Iran. So again, we're talking about $150 a barrel. Have a listen to what Fox News says about this situation.
The Strait. Why is that so critical?
About a fifth of the world's oil and gas flows through the Straits of Hormuz. But this is a problem that's going to go away very soon. I mean, the Iranian Navy is sunk. It's on the floor.
Okay, I'll stop there. I don't think the problem's going to go away soon. That's just, I think it's a pretty easy prediction to make. I don't think the problem's going to go away soon. So the Fox is trying to say, oh, guys, everything's fine. Everything's safe. That's why I was showing you guys, there's a bunch of tankers trapped. People are like, I'm on a million barrels of flowing oil. Crude could go up to 150.
Persian Gulf for the main. So there's stories by all these pessimistic lefties that little motorboats, little skiffs are going to come around and shoot your oil tanker if you go through the Strait. So, okay, fine. They might actually get one. So we're taking action. As you probably know, the Navy is going to accompany cargo ships. They're ready. The cargo ships are lined up. They're ready to rock. The insurance rates have been raised, so our government's going to give some help and take some of the risk out of that. The Navy will escort. I think, I spoke to Ed Yardeni today, a very distinguished economist.
Let me just interject here. So my understanding is, even though Trump said, oh, guys, I promise we'll guarantee the insurance, stuff like that, I guess the tankers in the industry doesn't trust Trump. That's a report we talked about before. I mean, you can't trust Trump on any of this stuff. And then, so you would have to trust Trump on two things. One, are you really going to get a Navy escort? That actually might happen. Who knows? It totally could. And then two, will the U.S. really, cover your insurance or whatever and back it? But I would be very, very leery on the second one. I mean, this is where we're at right now. So Fox is trying to this is sort of a communication to get, hey guys, everything's great. Just sail on through. Let's get that oil going again.
Thomas on Wall Street, who's a good thinker. One or two cargo ships coming through the Straits of Hormuz, one or two, will drop the price of oil substantially. You're at $80-85 right now. We should be around $60. And as the president told me a few weeks ago, it should get down to 55. Okay, fine. Put a few cargo ships through. Put it through. Take care of the insurance, and you'll see a huge change.
Yeah, psychologically, once that opens up, everybody will get back in action.
I mean, it's a funny thing. All this, I read it.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I get the psychology would be, hey, look at it, safe to go through, but who wants to take that first, risk now, right? I mean, and this is what it's like right now. They're trying to reassure tanker, captains, I guess, is what they're doing on Fox News. I don't even know if tanker captains are watching this. But theoretically, somebody is. Does anyone take these people seriously? Who knows?
Same kind of pessimism that you're describing in the war, which is just full of untruths and lies. So look we're in a boom here. Can I just say that? Yep. You and I have talked about this from time to time. This is a business boom. This is a productivity boom. This is a profits boom. This was a stock market. Stock market, you think it was crashing left and right. The whole 6-day period, the Dow's off 2%. The S&P 500 is off less than 1%.
So they're just telling us we're all awesome, we're all rich, and market's going to be fine. And I'm just telling you what Qatar says, dude. It's going to be like $150 a barrel, and ships are kind of worried about going through. And we got two competing narratives, and we'll see who ends up being right probably next week, because unfortunately, the situation is getting really dire. Let me show you more. This one's even more. Well, that's all scary. I'll just be frank. Depleted oil reserve leaves U.S. exposed as Iran war pushes up prices. So I guess we don't have as much oil in the U.S. as you thought you had. Depleted oil reserves exposed. It says Donald Trump has not, of course he hasn't, has not fulfilled a vow to refill the strategic petroleum reserve that was drained by Joe Biden. So evidently, I think it was Biden, they said he was pulling from this during the Ukraine thing. And then they never refilled it. It says the reserve created in 1974 following the Arab oil embargo was left well below its capacity after Biden opened the taps to contain crude prices following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Okay, Trump has since failed to fulfill the vow, so he was promising, he made in his inauguration speech that last year to, quote, refill oil reserves right up to the top again. So I guess we're struggling on the reserves there. This is, first, this is the price of oil. So you can see it's going up and down. So back in quarter one 24, I don't know, peaked at, let's look at the chart here, what, 85-ish, 87-ish, something like that. So we're already there, like going up like crazy. 150 would be really, really insane. And then just give you a flavor of what kind of reserves we're talking about. It says the reserve currently contains 415 million barrels of oil, okay, or about 20 days of total U.S. consumption. So what happens at the end of the 20 days? I know, I mean, it's not that funny, but I mean, we're just in like this crazy whacked out situation here, and we're watching the cost of oil, and it's just going through. I'm just trying to tell you the truth on this stuff, guys, and I don't know how many people are going to be talking about this today, the $150 thing. It should be the front line, the page of everything, but I know there's just so much happening because like it's even more crazy. I guess the U.S. wants to sell oil to China now. That's our plan. U.S. has a big ask for China, buy less oil from Russia, more from America. I don't think that plan is going to work, to be frank, but that's what we're going to try to do. And then essentially we're going to then say, okay, if you also buy more oil from us, please also buy more soybeans and stuff like that. That's from Besant. And then China's going to probably try to lower tariffs so they can send more goods to the U.S. and then also try to get more chips and stuff. So those negotiations are going to be really, really testy. I'll just say that because it's all like high, how can I say, high dollar value goods and important goods, right? All this stuff. So we'll see if the U.S. can sell oil to China. That really is the headline. Then you also have Hegseth saying that we're all doing great. Listen to this.
Iran is hoping that we cannot sustain this, which is a really bad miscalculation for the IRGC in Iran. Our commitment to our mission objectives only increases as our advantages continue to increase. We've got no shortage of munitions. Our stockpiles of defensive and offensive weapons allow us to sustain this campaign as long as we need to. Again, our munition status only increases as our advantage increases. Our capabilities, we have only just begun to fight and fight decisively.
So that's coming from Hegseth. I guess we're great on munitions. Ignore all the reports that we keep seeing that we're not so great. And I mean, the big problem, as we talked about before, is Iran can fly these really, really cheap drones, like $20,000 kind of thing. And then it takes millions of dollars to shoot these things down. So the math doesn't work out. And I guess, multiple countries in the region, in the Gulf region, are like scrambling to get more interceptors. This is actually in our news in Korea. Is the U.S. military then moving assets from here in South Korea to the Middle East? And this is our news. U.S. FK, so U.S. Forces Korea, may send Patriot missiles to the Middle East. Now, when you actually look at the details, they don't really say specifically because this is obviously a sensitive topic, right? You don't have to say, hey, this is how many weapons we got. This is where they're going. These are the exact locations. But mum's the word. Like literally it says, both Korean and U.S. officials have maintained an ambiguous stance on the issue. Quote, for operational securities, we do not comment on the movement or relocation or potential repositioning of specific military capabilities or assets. So your guess is as good as mine. I would be willing to bet this probably is happening. I wouldn't be shocked, but I can't confirm that. And no one's going to tell you the truth on that one, obviously, like how many and where they're going, et cetera. But that is the talk. The UAE seeks faster delivery of Korean air defense system after reported 96% hit rate. So now everyone's just scrambling. Okay, I'll buy, interceptors or missiles from whoever. And Korea actually makes this kind of stuff as well. And then you also have this other crazy news. And I want to be clear on this one. This is more of a rumor news, which may or may not be true. It's hard to say in this stuff. I'll just say, again, this is more of a rumor news. Will North Korea then send missiles to help Iran? And that would be pretty crazy. So then it ends up being North Korea is the weapons dealer to Iran, and then South Korea is the weapons dealer to the U.S. or the, how can you say, the Middle East. So that's sort of where we're at. It's a crazy world that we got going here. And I'll just say this, if it goes $150 a barrel, again, we're at 87, all bets are off. I mean, that may end things really quickly because people are just like, you know what, we can't do anything because it's just too expensive and no one's got any oil. And we're going to find out. That's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.